Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan, as well as the North Central Chaplain for Broken Chains, JC. Today is wow, I'm really struggling with dates right now. I looked at the one and just said November. Yeah, no, it's January 27th, 2024, and we will be looking at Proverbs chapter 27 today. You know, it's such a blessing to be able to be here with you. I think I'm still live on both platforms today, both Facebook and YouTube, at the same time, which blows me away because I didn't think I'd ever be able to do that, and yet this streaming software has added that capabilities to me. So if you're catching me on Facebook, welcome to the live. For those of you that have been catching me on YouTube, I appreciate you. Both of you, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, I need you to do that. It's Pastor Stitch is the YouTube channel. I really need you to do that. I need your help to get the word out. And YouTube puts it out to other people based on how many people like, share, comment, things like that. It's the same thing with Facebook as well. I am doing this on both platforms because I know that, I've been told anyway, that people appreciate what I'm doing. Not only that, but God told me to, so I'm going to keep doing it, and whether you like it or not, just don't watch. Because I'm doing what God asked me to do. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. On the other side of it, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't believe that the things God shares with me wasn't beneficial for you as well. So this morning, as we look at Proverbs chapter 27, let's take a look at verse 22. Verse 22 says this: "Though you grind a fool in a mortar with a pedestal, along with grain, you will not separate his foolishness from him." For those of you that don't know what a mortar and a pedestal is, there's a Mexican restaurant we go to. We love it. It's called Gillies. It's just down the street from our church in Bay City, and they have incredible food. But one of the things they do is they provide traditional Mexican things, and they have this stone bowl there with this stone stick with a great big fat end on it. And you're supposed to put whole grain in the bowl and then put that stone stick on it and just smash it and grind it, and it takes and it turns it into a powder. That's how you get your flour. That's a mortar and a pedestal, and so it takes that whole piece and turns it into something that can be made into a flour tortilla or a corn tortilla, or other types of product, right? And so you take an everyday piece of something, corn, flour, whatever, and it's the whole kernel, and you grind it up and you make it into something that's even more useful in many more ways. Solomon says, if you take a fool, just like a kernel of corn, and you drop it in the mortar, and you grind it with the pedestal, just like you do with the grain, even as you do it at the same time, the grain is going to come out flour. But he says you won't separate his foolishness from him. As I was looking at that today, I was thinking, okay, what's the point here? And I got to thinking about it. Everyday life, we learn lessons from. And we become more useful as we participate. Yesterday, I was doing some digitizing work, and I had to create a image that looked like it was a transition from one color to another. It had a color fade in it. And I needed to do that with my embroidery. I'd never done it before. I knew it could be done, but I didn't know how. And so I took the time and I went through and I broke all of it down and I studied it out and I figured out how to do it, right? And now my skill is a little bit better. Yesterday, during that digitizing time, I also had to figure out how to pull an image out of a really busy background so I could have one piece of an image so I could go in and correlate that into an embroidery piece of work. And as I was doing that, I was breaking it all down, bit by bit, turning it into usable chunks that I could add a little to and flatten it out, and make a dough, roll it up, and knead it out, and turn it into something better. But here's the thing. You know the one thing I've learned? The foolishness inside of me, doesn't matter how much I get into it and press into it and churn it and tear it all apart, it's still foolishness. It doesn't change. Even though I want to take that foolishness and turn it into something useful, it's not. How do I relate this and why is it important? Well, in recovery, we keep saying, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. And I know the Christian world hates that statement. That's not true. Well, alcoholism is foolishness. And no matter how much you break it down, it's always foolishness. You can't turn it into flour. It's foolishness. And the only way to overcome foolishness is by focusing on the goodness of God. Step 1, 2, and 3 are combined together and have to be worked in unison. I'm not good. God is good. And because of his goodness, he says he wants to help me. I think I'll let him. And they have to be worked together. And you can't say I'm not good if you don't see that God is good. Because there's no hope in not good. But there is hope if God is good and he wants to use that goodness for me. When I see he's good and he wants to use the goodness for me, then I can admit that I'm not good. When I introduce myself, I say I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ, struggling well with sexual integrity and alcohol. My name is Jay. I never deny the foolishness. I only accept the goodness of God. We can't break the foolishness down into something useful. What we can do is say the foolishness is foolishness, and with God's help, I don't have to live that way anymore. That's the importance of what this message is today. Verse 12 in Proverbs 27 says this: a sensible person sees danger and takes cover, and the inexperienced, they just keep going and are punished. Foolishness is foolishness. You can't break it down. You can't grind it up. It doesn't matter how well that pedestal works. The rest of your life can be broke down and turned into good stuff, but foolishness cannot. Let's remember that today as we go out into the world. I love y'all. Hope you have a great day. God bless.